Here's Brody Brazil.
There's been a lot of people talking about this, so I figured it was the right time to make a video, an update about this ridiculous referendum that's being discussed in the city of Oakland and the future of a ballpark for Howard Terminal. Let me fill you in here on what exactly happened. This was this past Saturday. Oakland Council member Carroll Fife, there she is in the photo. She represents District 3, which Howard Terminal is a part of. She had about a 50-person town hall get-together, which was advertised and publicized, and she actually live streamed it on Twitter. However, I do have to say it was hard to hear. It wasn't maybe technically sound. Also, the camera never really moved around, so you really couldn't get a feel of who was at this meeting, how many exact people, what it was like. Kind of hard to decipher from that Twitter video alone. But what came out of that town hall was this, the big news. She floated the idea of a public referendum for Howard Terminal and the ballpark that would appear on the November ballot. Now, if you're not into politics, you're a sports guy like me, you want to know what a public referendum is? That's a situation where local government or any government entity, they cannot make the decision on their own, so they bring it to a public vote to essentially decide for them. So that's what was suggested here by Council Member Carroll Fife of Oakland. But then there's the deeper layers and the deeper story here. Carroll Fife is a person who voted no on the EIR certification a couple months ago. She's also an individual who abstained from voting July 20th of 2021. That was the big vote that helped Oakland even move forward, kind of start the process on this Howard Terminal project. So it clearly lets you know where she stands. She's had her reservations. I don't think she's necessarily been critical entirely of the project yet, but she has definitely expressed her reservations about how things are playing out and how things are proceeding. A referendum, though, I want to pass this along. According to current Oakland Mayor Libby Schaaf, putting this referendum on the ballot for the fall would cost the city of Oakland $1 million plus, just for this one thing. It's important to know. This idea for a referendum, it would likely be presented on April 19th, so right around the corner. We're less than a month away from that. But I put here in quotes because these are not my words. These are things I've seen from those more in the know about East Bay politics and Oakland politics, local government politics. A lot of people are suggesting immediately right now, this is not likely to even happen. It's being discussed, but it's not likely to actually get voted on yes to send it to a public vote to decide the fate of Howard Terminal. But now I'm going to tell you why, with all that, why I don't think any of this is okay. Even though it's not likely, still not okay. And let's start with this. Number one, this is exactly what the Oakland City Council was elected to do. Research, conversation, make tough decisions together, represent your constituents. And so to all of a sudden suggest a public referendum on this, it does kind of have the feel and taste of a stall tactic or a delay tactic more than anything else. Is this genuinely something that the city council can't handle? Or are they having trouble with this at this point? It doesn't seem like that's the case. It seems like one individual might be presenting this in hopes of a stall or a delay or the inevitable stop of moving forward with the project. It's also questionable timing here in this process. As I said before, the city of Oakland has already had two major votes to get a term sheet approved. It was Oakland's term sheet, but they still voted yes on that. And then they also certified the environmental impact report. So why now, after two votes in a process that is moving forward, why now to suggest a public referendum? And again, there is that $1 million cost. Let's avoid that entirely by having people do what they are elected to do. Point number two here, this is a beneficial project in so many different ways. It's going to help the community. It's going to help schools. More than just a baseball team staying in Oakland, this project is a generational thing and benefit for Oakland, but it's deep in its details. I'm not going to lie. I spent a lot of time reading and researching, and even I don't understand every single thing. I have to ask questions. So it's so deep in details, the average voter, I'm going to tell you right now, if this went to a vote, knows nothing compared to elected officials. They have not had the opportunity to speak with experts, to have this explained to them, to have a staff of people who can say, well, this is why this works. Here's kind of the catch of this. Here's the trick of this. And here's why Oakland and Alameda County benefits from a project like this. Again, it's deep in details. It's a bit confusing, but once you settle in on what's actually going to happen here, it's a beneficial project, and it's all right there. So asking the public to do that work of figuring this out and to not be misled, I mean, if this goes to a public referendum vote, my goodness, can you imagine the information and stuff that's going to be tossed out there that is not believable to the public? You could scare them. It's that easy. Instead of politicians who are supposed to be above that and make the right ultimate decisions because they have the background, they have the expertise on this. So asking the public to do the work, yeah, that's kind of a lost cause. And to their defense, they just don't have the time or the resources necessarily to do it. And yeah, number 3 here, council members do have those resources. They can ask questions. They can go to their experts. They have a staff. They have some influence, right? They can kind of influence each other even in their voting. If they like something or if they don't like something or whatever, that is how this process for such a big decision is supposed to work. Not just in Oakland, everywhere. This is not like an Oakland specific thing. This is everywhere. And this November vote, I should also tell you, it coincides with the Oakland mayor's race, right? So there's going to be a new mayor in Oakland elected in November. Libby Schaaf's terms, they will be complete. And so tying in Howard Terminal with a mayor's race and that on the ballot kind of clouds the whole situation here. What exactly are you going to get? More voters, less voters? I don't know. But it all does seem a little bit fishy. It seems cloudy, not fishy, not suspect, but it clouds the, if this were its own vote, if it were a standalone thing, fine. People go to the polls or not based on one thing, that's fine. But when you tie it into a mayor's race, a big one, that to me is when it has another layer of interest to it. So those are my thoughts on, what is honestly kind of a ridiculous referendum. It's the analogy of, if you want to make it baseball, do you ask the fans to manage the team during the game? Hey fans, should the runner on first try and steal second? Hey fans, should we try a hit and run here? Hey fans, what pitch should our starter throw next? It's up to you. That's why, no disrespect, that's why teams don't do that. Let me know what you think about all this in the comments section below.